Welcome, Emily McCarthy, to the Run Lift Mom podcast. You are in GORUCK HQ.
Yes, I am. The one and only.
Awesome. I am so excited to have you on the show. Of course, I did an intro for you, but listeners of this show know I have long been a fan of the brand that you guys have built. And I have to tell you, just so I feel a little less nervous, I have a girl crush on you and I'm fangirling right now. So how's that?
Oh, well, likewise. I've been following you. Yes, I've been following you as well, Susie, and I think what you put together is really awesome. So I'm really happy to be here to talk to you.
Thank you so much. So I want to get into, of course, we're going to talk about your brand story and your role in that and some girl power stuff. But we can't talk about GORUCK without talking about what rucking is, because I guarantee for the listeners of Run Lift Mom, some people are like, yeah, I know what that is. I did a ruck yesterday. And some people are like, hold the phone. What? Can you explain to us what rucking is?
Yes, I would love to. But before I do, I have this shirt that says Ruck It on it. And whenever I drop my kids off to school, I get these looks from the women that work at the front office. They think I'm wearing something obscene.
It is a four-letter word, but not that kind of four-letter word.
Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of, it sometimes works for you, sometimes works against you in that way, but not great for kids' schools, but great for everywhere else, it seems like. But yeah, so rucking is simply walking with weight on your back. And the way we do it is with a rucksack. And, you know, like you said, it has its origins in the military. And for the most part, until GORUCK came around, it was confined to the military, the roots or limited to the military. It was something that, you know, soldiers would look back on and say, oh, ruck marches. Yeah, I've been there, done that. You know, the military has a way of sometimes taking the fun out of everything in the sense that, you know, you put 100 pounds in your rucksack and you go on, you know, marches that seem to never end. And where's the fun in that? But GORUCK was always about building a bridge between military and civilian worlds. Mm-hmm. And part of that was making rucking a fitness trend.
Awesome. Awesome. And of course, your husband has a military background, and so you've been a military spouse as well. Do you mind touching on that for a second?
No, I'd love to, actually. It's very important to our personal story and our marriage as well as our brand. So, you know, after 9/11, Jason enlisted in the Army. He didn't tell anybody right away. It was a bit of a surprise to his mother and then later me. But he went through the 18 X-ray program. So basically street to Green Beret, and then went on to serve in Iraq and some other areas. So, you know, those are his roots. He did a lot of rucking, obviously, in those, 2 years of training to become a Green Beret. And, you know, he really liked it. It wasn't something, you know, some things didn't come quite as naturally to him because he hadn't served in the infantry before that. But rucking was somewhere he excelled and he really enjoyed it. At that same time, I was applying for some jobs up in DC and ended up getting picked up by the agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, and became a case officer. So we were both in training at the same time. His training was obviously a little more physical than mine. But we ended up having this long distance relationship where, you know, I was in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, and he was in Iraq. And, wow. You know, he came to visit me at one point, and it was a funny experience when people came from like the war zones to where I was in Africa. They were a little freaked out because, you know, you're in Iraq, there's green zones, there's, you know, zones you're not supposed to go in. It's a little operates in some ways like a minimal security prison, or it was at the time. And you came to Africa and I had free reign to go anywhere I want, and it was a little daunting. And so he said, you know, I'm not so comfortable here. This seems like there's a coup ready to happen any minute. And it was true. It could, and it did. So he built me a GORUCK, and he explained to me what that was. It's basically like your bug out bag, you know, your go bag. When, you know, things go south, you throw it in your car, or you grab it around your back and, you know, use your feet and get off the X.
This is like for listeners that are 39, 40 weeks pregnant, they have their go bag ready to go to the hospital and deliver a baby. Now yours was a little different, but similar concept, right?
Yeah, I mean, similar things. Like, yeah, you have to be ready. I mean, that's one of the getting ready to go to the hospital, because that baby doesn't, unless you have a scheduled C-section or something or induction, you don't know when that baby's coming. And same thing with a coup. You don't know when that's really going to break. So it's exactly the same concept, and it can be kind of nerve wracking. And the best way I think, to deal with those nerves and any anxiety around that is just to prepare.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
packing your GORUCK. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. He obviously excelling in the rucking and a fitness capacity in the military. And then, of course, you having some professional ties there as well. Of course, I can shorten it a lot by saying one thing led to another. And now you have this awesome brand. But I really would like you to, okay, so that was what, 15 years ago? More than 15 years ago?
Yeah, we've been around since 2008. So,
Awesome.
yes.
So
Yeah.
fast forward a decade and tell us a little bit about the brand and what it's like to be a female at a brand, right? With roots in the military and this fitness, this ruck world of fitness.
Right. Right. So, GORUCK is a really masculine brand because of the Special Forces roots, and our cadre and that kind of tough, embrace the suck mentality. But what a lot of people don't know is that the first employee who was ever hired, outside of Jason, was a female, and the second one was a female. And right now, I mean, we have 14 females that work at GORUCK headquarters, and that's about 40% of our workforce. So just under half, and about half of those women are in strategic leadership roles. So sometimes like what the brand is and roots does not mean that the people that are working on it, we're not all special forces, we're not all veterans, but we all do believe in this way of life and being the rucking company and building communities.
Awesome. That is so cool to hear. So talk to me a little bit. I mean, some people know you from your bags, right? And some people know you from GORUCK events. If folks have been connected with me for a while, they know that back when Trey and I were in St. Louis, he signed me up for a GORUCK Tough event, which lasted over the advertised 24 hours. Emily, we were an hour into this, and I was like, you're paying to do this? It's like can you explain what the events are like? Now, at that time, There was one type of event. I was class 261. Now you have a variety of events to meet people where they are on their fitness level. But can you describe the event side a little bit?
Yes. Can I ask you, did you get a flame patch? Were you
it was an arrow.
You had the spearhead. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were just on the cusp of when that patch changed, but that's still 261 is very OG. Just so you know, you have a lot of clout in our community. I mean, at the time, I did the third one ever, and it was, I just was like, oh, I'm going to try this out. How many of these are there going to be? Right. And now it's like, we're going on, whatever, how many toughs there are. There's like class 3,000 or something.
Wow.
And it's kind of mind boggling to think about what that became. So yes. So, GORUCK we started with the bags, but the bags, no one cared about the bags. They were expensive. They were made in America at the time. And they, who cares? It's just another bag. How are you going to disrupt the backpack space? But Jason fell back on what he knew, and that was building communities. And that's from Special Forces, what he knew how to do, and just started bringing people together. And it was different in that it was, tough and it was a challenge, but it was always about having fun and meeting people in kind of a different space, not online, not in, these prescribed, church or out, other places, but like outside and getting muddy together or getting some cold water. And that somehow it just took off. And it's been really incredible to watch that community grow and people wanting to be active and wanting to be with each other. That's something that we really pride ourselves on, is about, creating communities that want to be active together.
I'll tell you. So I came to the community part first. My husband said, "Hey, do this Go Ruck Tough event with me." He had a Go Ruck bag at the time. I did not. And so for listeners who have not been exposed to an event, I mean, you can use any backpack you want. And
Yeah.
real talk, no offense to Lululemon, but I had some stupid Lululemon backpack. And during the event, so you guys, you show up at a prescribed location, but then
Mm-hmm.
like there are no watches, there are no phones, it's like they're mimicking selection. So
Yeah.
you're doing all of these physical things with weight on your back, and you we ended up passing our bags around to do different things, fireman's carries,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing overhead squats, that kind of thing. And when I passed my Lululemon backpack off and put someone's Go Ruck on, that's when I was like, oh, I need one of those expensive backpacks. It took 2 seconds during that moment for me, to become a believer in the bags. But I love how your brand has
Right.
created that community around it.
Right. So exactly like the events, they are still like this to this day. We just have more variety. But the first events where you show up at either 1 a.m. was the first start times, and then it moved back to 9 p.m. But it felt like Fight Club, right? You're showing up on a street corner. It's nighttime. You have this packing list. You don't really know what else to expect. You're meeting with a bunch of strangers. You might know maybe one or two of them that you brought with you for support, or that, you talked your wife into and didn't tell her exactly what was going on, or husband. And you meet this, sort of special forces or special operations cadre, and he leads you on this unconventional tour of a city, and, with all the parts of it that you've never done before. And I think, there's something really cool about saying, wow, I've lived here all my life, but I never done, I've never seen this statue, or I've never crawled in the mud, right underneath the bridge, or I've never gotten into the Hudson River. And there's some clout to being able to say these things, as it seems crazy, but when you've got all these people doing it with you, they're looking out for each other, and it's an intense experience to go
Mm-hmm.
through. And yes, you have your rucksack on you for most, if not all, the duration of these events. And this one, what we're talking about, is now called the Tough Challenge. It's 10 to 12 hours long. The mileage can be anywhere from 15 to 20 miles, sometimes a little more. And depending on how much you weigh is how much you ruck in your backpack, your rucksack. So if you're under 150 pounds, you have 20 pounds. If you're over, you have 30. This is for the Tough Challenge, and we have different weight requirements for different events. But it's cool because you do get to pass around your ruck sometimes, or play games, where you have to just grab a ruck. And what we find is that we didn't have to do a lot of work on the selling of how tough these bags were at this point. They spoke for themselves. A lot of times, these other bags that look really nice, they break really easily when you put any sort of stress on them. And the challenge was formed to actually show the toughness of the bags. And back then it was bricks that people put in. And Jason used to bring the bricks. For my class, he brought a load of bricks and told everyone, disperse them amongst yourselves. And there were all these
We
guys, they
taped
were
ours
like piling all
together.
these. Yeah. So all these guys are piling all these bricks together. I think I barely got 3 because they wanted them all. And by the end, they were trying to give me their bricks,
And now there are
But
plates, right, that folks will put in their
yes.
rucksack. So any
Yeah. So
new
it's all
mom,
about, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, any mom listening out there, I mean, so some people maybe have had this experience, or they know someone who has had this experience and they can visualize it. But then there are some moms out there that, like, wow, they've never put bricks in a backpack on purpose, but they've worn their baby. So maybe they had a
Yes.
baby in a wrap or a Bjorn or something like that. And so moms out there, I know you've felt the fitness benefit firsthand of putting that additional weight on yourself, and then walking, doing body weight
Yeah.
exercises. Can you talk to me a little bit about females in particular, Emily, being a part of this event community and doing this as a fitness practice?
Sure. Yes. I'll get to the baby wearing part because I think that's a great part of this. But, just as, the number of females within GORUCK headquarters has grown, the number of women doing GORUCK events and rucking and leading Ruck clubs is just on the rise. It's been really great to see, women getting out there and a lot of it is I think a scheduling thing, right? So I used to be a runner. I ran in college. I don't like to run by myself anymore. I actually miss that social aspect of running with a team. And, the best I can do sometimes, because it's like, it's hard to build a routine when you're a mom and you have, several, one or more children. As soon as you feel like you get into a groove, someone gets sick or, dad goes out of town or, something else comes up. So it's always messing with your routine. So sometimes the best fix for that is, what can you do that's really close to home, and with your village of people who, if you're really having a hard time with one of your kids, they're going to be able to help out with them, or their kid is going to step in and make them happier. And I started thinking, gosh, we've got this GORUCK headquarters Ruck Club, but the schedule is just, it's at 6:30 at night. Like, that's prime, getting ready for bedtime.
Mom time.
House, right? Like, we're not going to make that. Or it's like it's or too early in the morning. So it messes up with your school, drop off schedule. So I said, I know I'm only 4 miles away from GORUCK headquarters, but I'm going to start a Ruck Club, by moms, for moms, but we're not exclusive. Dads show up to our, and other, single folks come to our Ruck Club get-togethers, and it just works. We've just been growing, and moms hear about it and they say, "Oh, you mean I've got an activity where I can actually bring my kids?" And
so do the children, like the littles, just walk, but mom has her rucksack with that added fitness benefit of the weight?
Exactly. So
Perfect.
Yes, so we do a lot of different things. So we do, you can scale, you can add more weight or less weight depending on what you want to do. You can be pushing kids in a stroller, pulling them in a wagon. They can ruck. My kids start seeing us doing it, and then they want to throw books in their back, their little school rucks and go along with us. They don't make it the whole time. We get them, like, they jump in the stroller at some point, or they give me their rucksack. But we make it work. So we just have different types of rucks. We have easy ones where the kids come, and sometimes we do like just a workout with the moms, and the kids run around in a park while we're doing our station workout with our rucks. And it's just portable, it's scalable, and it's not something that we have to carve out a different time to do it. Like, I love to do yoga.
Someone visualize. Someone visualizing.
Sorry.
So am I visualizing correctly that, like, it's a crew of women, they all brought their weighted rucksack, they're in a park, and you are maybe doing X number of repetitions of overhead squats where you're carrying that rucksack overhead and squatting down below parallel. Is it that kind of thing?
Yes, we have rucks that, like, once a week we'll do a ruck like that, and then we'll just do a ruck where we're just going to a destination with our kids and back. Awesome. And there's no PT involved. But I like to mix in the PT when at least once a week, if not more, where we're doing overhead squats. You have your weighted ruck over your head, or you're doing lunges, or you're doing kind of like a swing. Like, instead of having to bring all your kettlebells, you're just using that. Also, you can do where you're doing like Russian twists with the rock in your hand. So you're just kind of adding some resistance training to these things. And also, push-ups or plank holds with your, weighted rock on your back. I mean, it's always optional. Yes. Some people want to do it without it, but some people who want a little more, that's what they do. And so we incorporate that sometimes in a park, or, we live near the beach, on the beach, and we can kind of keep an eye on the kids as they run around, and we get these in. And it's really great to get in a quick workout with other people who are pushing you and motivating you to go a little more.
I love that. It's one tool, and listeners of this episode or of this show have heard multiple episodes where we talk about, guys, you don't need to hold planks for 10 minutes at a time. If you can hold a plank for longer than 2 minutes, you need to add weight. You're not doing anything for your trunk by holding it for 10 minutes. So I love the idea of doing that with the ruck. And something I really, I'm a runner, run, lift, mom. Something I love about this is, it's challenging first of all, female friendships in certain seasons of life are challenging. And as a runner,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to find somebody that's going to match your pace so you have that community
Yeah.
feel. With the rucksack, with adding that weight, taking it out as needed, adding it in based on fitness level,
Yes.
it's still a movement you can share no matter the levels.
Absolutely. Before I started the Ruck Club, the Go Ruck Mother Ruckers, I was begging people, please go running with me. Then they just, all they see is that I was a Division I runner in college. And they're like, no, I don't want to run with you. And I'm like, listen, we can stick together. I don't need to go fast, every day of the week. I just need someone to get me out of, I just want to run and talk with you. But some people, it's not a conversational pace for them, or it's just they're intimidated, or some people say my knees are shot, I don't want to run anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the rucking has been great for that. We have a woman in our group who plays on the national women's baseball team, and she is super fit. She doesn't like running at all, but she always has like a 30-pound plate, if not more. And she does that because she likes to do, like I said, the planks and the PT with more weight. I do anywhere from like 10 to 15, 20 max, just because of my frame. And that's enough for me, but we can do it on the same level and still be talking and socializing and working out together, getting our different scaled workouts in
I
without a lot
love
of
it.
equipment or having to go to a gym.
Yes, I love it. I also love, real talk, our Go Ruck, my radio ruck was my diaper bag. So I love the idea of having the same tool that was my diaper bag can then meet my fitness where I need it to in terms of weight. Add it or take it
Right.
away, whatever. You
Right.
recently, Emily, you wore a rucksack during the Marine Corps marathon. Do you mind
Yes.
just sharing a little bit of your experience or a moment from that? That's 26.2 miles under load.
Yes. Yes. So I had probably just under 20 pounds because I drank some water that made it go down. But that was the fastest rucking marathon that I've done. I've run a marathon before, and rucking is a completely different experience. But I had a moment there where basically at the very beginning, I had a buddy. Her name's Val. She works at GORUCK. She is a fabulous runner. Runs a lot of marathons, places really well in local races, first place or first in her age group a lot. So she's in great running shape and rucking shape. So we decided we were going to stick together, and we didn't really know what our goal was going to be. We just knew we had to beat the bridge, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that means you have to do it in more or less, right around the 7-hour mark for rucking. So we just kind of decided to stick together. Well, it's really crowded at the Marine Corps Marathon. It's a big race and it's an awesome race. But right around mile 7, we got separated. She went to get some water. I waited for her and we couldn't find each other. So for like 2 miles, I was just really upset. I did not want to do the rest of this rucking marathon, without her, because we had, we were going to be a great pace together. We're both runners. We felt good about doing this. And we found each other at mile 9. And you would have thought that we hadn't seen each other for years. We hugged each other and people were like, what's going on? Looking at us. So we were so happy. People were helping me look for her. Like I was calling out her name we laughed and we said it was like we lost our mom. That's how that feeling. But what it meant to me was that, that bond, right? Like having a battle buddy is really important, not only just in a race, but in life. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think is so great about, the ruck clubs and the GORUCK events. And then, just GORUCK in general is that we kind of say, like, you don't have to do this alone, like, yes, if you need your space and quiet, go out on that run or, get in that ride on your own sort of thing if you need that. But more often than not, humans need other humans, and we crave that social interaction more than not.
Absolutely. What occurs to me is from the outside, yes, Ruck seems like a masculine brand, but then as I talk to you and just knowing it myself, it really is a great brand for women because Ruck stands for strength and empowerment and community and fitness. I just love this.
Yes.
Can I get you, Emily, to go through some this or that rapid fire with me? And this is unrelated to rucksacks or being under load or any type of fitness component out there.
Okay. Yes. Give it to me.
All right. So let's say ice cream or gelato?
Oh, ice cream.
Ice cream.
I'm American. Yeah. I have Italian roots, but I like ice cream.
How about beach or mountains?
All beach all the way.
I thought so based on where
girl.
based on where you guys are. All right.
Yes.
Mickey Mouse or Paw Patrol?
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Awesome. And then finally, outside of a this or that, what is a piece of advice you would give to your younger self? I'm totally putting you on the spot here. Guys, I do a briefing sheet for this show, and I've told Emily, kind of given her a general of what we're going to talk about, but you just have such an interesting history, Emily. I have to know, like, if you could rewind 10 years, 08, GORUCK's getting started, what might you say to your younger self?
Oh gosh, I think about this a lot. I did a year of volunteer service after graduating from Georgetown, where I went to Ecuador with Catholic Relief Services. And at the time, I was considering doing the Peace Corps, but it really, the 2 to 3 year commitment with student loan debt, hanging over my head, I just really thought, like, wow, I don't think I can do that 2 to 3 years. And now, as I'm standing from the perspective of being 40, I think I would tell, and I do tell younger adults, you can take that time when you're younger, and you should take that time. Like, even if it seems like you're not going to be able to make it, like, you're not going to get that time back. And I think, you get into different stages of your life where you are here to you're dedicated to the survival of other people, right? Your children, your elderly parents, sometimes, employees, and you don't have that freedom to just do whatever you want. So you need to take that time, and you shouldn't view it as being too selfish, but finding out what you really want to do and doing it for that period of time that makes sense for you.
Love it. Well, thank you very much for coming on Run Lift Mom. Your brand is inspiring. You are inspiring. And I hope that you have inspired some ladies out there to try rucking, try putting some weight in a quality backpack, and getting out there for the fitness and the community and the fun of it.
Great. Thank you so much, Susie. I love what you're doing, and keep it up.
Thank you. Now, I know that makes you want to put some weighted plates in a rucksack, get after it, look up your local ruck club, or even sign up for the next GORUCK event. And I've got a ton of things in the show notes for you to explore. So depending on the player that you're listening in, you're either going to swipe up or click on details. Explore Emily's company, GORUCK, further. You guys, this is such a fantastic brand, and it's a lot more than just backpacks. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on, for inspiring. I am fist pumping the air, girl power up in here. Until I get into your earpiece again, remember, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. That's from 1 Timothy 4:8, and this has been the Run Lift Mom podcast. Welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast, where we're talking about running, lifting, and momming, not necessarily in that order. Today, we're going to be talking about all three of these things in a hybrid because I've got Emily McCarthy, co-founder of GORUCK, on the show. GORUCK is an American brand with roots in intelligence and special forces. Emily and her husband, Jason, both served our country on the front lines of the global war on terrorism. Jason is a Green Beret, Emily is a CIA case officer. After their time in service, they founded GORUCK, and if you think this brand is just about military backpacks, guys, you're wrong. That's what we're going to explore on the show today. What rucking is as a sport. I am saying rucking with an R, you guys. Also, why it makes sense for moms in terms of fitness, and then what the rucking community is like. Emily lives in Jacksonville Beach, Florida with her business partner and husband, Jason, 3 children, and chocolate Labrador Monster, who, guys, you can see him on the marketing materials at GORUCK, and I hear in some circles he's considered the boss. Listen, if you ask me to describe Emily, I'm going to say she's tough, she's adaptable, she is empowering, but I want you to be the judge. Without further ado, here's Emily McCarthy of GORUCK. Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, you know I'm the mom of 4 kids under age 5, and therefore I am always looking for ways to work smart, not hard. Anchor is the smartest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, but Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so then it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole lot more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is quite literally everything you need all in one place. And y'all, it's free. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you for listening to the Run Lift Mom podcast. This began as a passion project in February of 2019. I wanted to uplift other women in the areas of running, lifting, and motherhood. Here's what's happened. I've not only personally been uplifted, I have been blessed by the relationships with guests on this show, by the relationships with listeners of this show. Thank you so much for helping me continue this passion project. Here's how you can help even more, and it will take you less than 10 seconds, dear listener. I want you to rate, review, and subscribe. Rate, review, and subscribe. It really, really helps other people find the show, and it keeps my show sponsors happy. This episode is made possible by Red H Nutrition. Red H Nutrition is your one-stop shop for nutrition and wellness supplements. You can check them out in the show notes, and don't forget to use code RUNLIFTMOM, RUNLIFTMOM, at checkout to save 10%. Also, if you stick around to the end of the episode, you'll hear me interview the owner of Red H Nutrition about one of my favorite products. And as always, I'm a Zaya Active representative, so don't forget to get on my New Release Wednesday text message. Yeah, you heard me right. By going to newreleasewednesday.com, put in your phone number, and then you don't have to scroll social media all day come Wednesdays. I'm going to send you my favorite directly to your phone. All right, I've got Katie Danger with Red H Nutrition. Katie, we know that good health starts in the gut. Can you tell me a little bit about adaptogenic symbiotic?
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate your point, Susie. Health starts in the gut, and that's why the adaptogenic symbiotic is so important. It's complete digestion support. We've got the 3 most abundant gut flora for the probiotics. So we've got 6 billion CFUs, colony-forming units. We have a prebiotic fiber, which helps feed those probiotics so they can do the job they need to do. And then we also have invertase included, which helps with any bloating and gas and indigestion you may be experiencing. So we've got this proactive approach and we've got the reactive approach. So if anybody's experiencing any gas, bloating, or just wants additional digestive support, the adaptogenic probiotic is the all-in-one solution for that.
You guys, I'm thrilled to announce a new partner on Run Lift Mom, and that is Audible. I've been an Audible member for over 10 years, and my favorite part, hands down, It's the gift of time. I use the free app to take notes as I'm doing my long run and I hear something fantastic, and you are going to love it. If you want to try Audible free, visit audibletrial.com/runliftmom. That's RUNLIFTMOM. Again, for a free trial, visit audibletrial.com/runliftmom.